Hello, in this short video we'll demonstrate how to calibrate or reset a Bermad 720-2B pressure reducing valve with low flow bypass. The purpose of this valve is to maintain a constant reduced downstream pressure, allowing for more stable pressure reduction even in very low flow situations. Prior to resetting the outlet pressure, make sure that the inlet pressure is at least 10 psi or 0.7 bar higher than the required outlet pressure. For example, if the required outlet pressure is 60 psi or 4 bar, make sure that the inlet pressure is at least 70 psi or 4.8 bar. In addition, during the adjustment process, the flow rate should be as close as possible to the normal expected flow rate. If this is not possible, ensure at least that there is a minimal flow rate before you begin the calibration process. Next, close the isolation ball valve at the downstream side of the direct acting bypass valve, as we will calibrate it later. Start by removing the grey plastic cover on the pilot. Unscrew the locking nut to free the adjusting screw. Turning the adjusting screw clockwise will raise the set pressure, and turning counterclockwise will lower the set pressure. Slowly turn the adjusting screw to raise or lower the set pressure while observing the outlet pressure gauge until the required pressure is attained, in our case 4 bar or 60 psi. When done, retighten the locking nut. Complete the pressure adjustment process of the main valve by replacing the protective cover on the pilot. Now let's turn our attention to the direct acting bypass valve, which needs to be reset in accordance to the new pressure setting of the main valve. The bypass pressure reducing valve is designed to regulate stably and accurately at very low flows. It should be set to a pressure of 7 psi or 0.5 bar higher than that of the larger main valve. For example, if the main valve setting is 60 psi or 4 bar, then we should set the bypass at 67 psi or 4.5 bar. Start calibrating the bypass valve by closing the downstream trim isolation valve. The main valve will now close. Note that the bypass downstream isolation valve should remain closed for the time being. On the bypass valve's adjustment cap, there is a scale that shows the pressure setting. You can use this scale to get a rough pressure measurement. However, it is always preferable to use an accurate pressure gauge. Turn the adjustment cap clockwise to increase the pressure setting and counterclockwise to decrease the pressure setting. Proceed by opening the bypass downstream isolation valve. Connect and partially open a tap or faucet so that there's a minimal flow when the bypass valve opens. Start adjusting the bypass pressure by turning the cap in the desired direction while watching the downstream pressure gauge on the same gauge used to set the main valve. Continue turning until you reach a value of 7 psi or 0.5 bar higher than the main valve. In our case, we need to reach 67 psi or 4.5 bar. At this point, the calibration process is complete. You can now reopen the downstream control trim isolation valve on the main valve and allow the system to return to typical flow. We at Bermad hope you find this information useful and invite you to contact us with any questions or issues you encounter. Thank you for watching.